Kelly Ripa had always taken pride in her ability to tell the difference between performance and reality. Years in television had taught her how to handle the constant demands of public life, the glare of studio lights, and the speed of live broadcasts. But nothing could prepare her for the day when everything in her carefully ordered world suddenly changed. It began with a phone call that felt unreal. News that Mark had been in a serious accident while returning from a charity event. The details came in fragments, each one harder to process than the last. For a moment, Kelly sat frozen before instinct took over, and she raced toward the hospital, her heart pounding harder with every mile. When she arrived, she found that Mark was alive but facing a long road to recovery. There was relief in that, but also fear, an awareness that life would not look the same for a while. The hospital room became a new kind of stage, a place of quiet courage and deep vulnerability. Kelly sat beside his bed, counting the steady rhythm of the machines that monitored his progress. Their children took turns visiting, doing their best to stay strong for both parents. Friends stepped in to help with meals, errands, and small comforts. It became a collective act of care and endurance. As the days turned into weeks, Kelly found herself living two lives. There was the on-screen Kelly, poised, smiling, and quick-witted, and the private Kelly, exhausted and full of worry, whispering encouragements by Mark's bedside. Those two versions of herself began to blur until she could no longer tell where one ended and the other began. Every morning before the red light of the studio camera turned on, she would take a deep breath and try to lock her emotions away. But sometimes the pain would surface unexpectedly. She would fumble her lines, forget her cues, or find herself staring off into space between segments. The laughter she once shared so effortlessly now carried a quiet ache. The network executives noticed. They offered her flexibility, suggesting she film short remote segments from the hospital or pre-record her appearances. It was meant kindly, but even that kindness came with pressure. The show had to go on, and Kelly was one of its pillars. The producers gently reminded her of the audience that missed her, the sponsors waiting for her return, and the need to keep things normal. But normal no longer existed. When Mark was finally moved from intensive care to a private recovery room, the family felt a wave of cautious relief. The sterile smell of the hospital corridors softened, yet stability, Kelly learned, could be its own kind of strain. The adrenaline that had kept her moving began to fade, leaving behind exhaustion and a strange emptiness. Mark was improving, but slowly. He struggled to regain his strength through physical therapy, and the frustration was visible in his eyes. Kelly tried to encourage him while managing her own growing fatigue. She often took conference calls from the hospital hallway, trying to sound upbeat while her phone buzzed with messages from her team. One afternoon, during a network meeting, a producer suggested doing a welcome back special to mark her return to television. They spoke warmly, eager to celebrate her strength and include Mark as part of the story. But as she listened, Kelly felt her chest tighten. To them, it was a storyline. To her, it was her life. He's not a segment, she said quietly. The words hung in the air, heavy and final. She ended the call and went back to Mark's room, where he gave her a tired but genuine smile. In that look, she realized what she had to do. That evening, Kelly opened her laptop and began to type. She didn't consult her team or her agents. Her message was simple, an open note to the viewers who had supported her for years. Hello, everyone. Many of you know that my husband, Mark, was in an accident. I've tried to stay strong and continue our show's routine because I know how much consistency means to our viewers. But right now, I need to be here with my family. For the time being, I'll be stepping away from the show to focus entirely on helping my husband recover and giving my family my full attention. Thank you for your kindness, your patience, and your love. I'll see you all again soon. Within hours, the post spread across the internet. Thousands of comments poured in, messages of love, understanding, and gratitude. Fans who had watched Kelly for years wrote about how much her honesty meant to them. For once, the noise of social media quieted into something genuine. She read a few of the messages, then set her phone aside and turned back to Mark. He was awake, watching her with a look that mixed pride and tenderness. He whispered, "You did the right thing." She smiled. "For once, I didn't ask anyone's permission." The next morning, she woke up early, walked to the hospital window, and watched the city come alive. It was the first sunrise she had truly seen in weeks. The world was still turning, but for now, she was exactly where she needed to be.